The video games as art argument has been raging on for a few years now. It sort of started with Roger Ebert talking about how he didn't think games are art and how he doesn't think they ever will be art, and then Clive Barker kind of jumped in on this and said how he sort of disagreed with Roger Ebert. And this is an argument I used to get really worked up about and get into arguments about as well, and then I just sort of stopped caring about it. You know, it's sort of like saying, are movies art? Well, some probably are and some probably aren't. Same with games too. I think some you could probably consider art, some you could sort of consider just fun diversions. Some games are, you know, played competitively for large sums of money. It's become an entirely massive industry in and of itself, and I get it because gamers have very highly honed defense mechanisms and they care very profoundly about the medium they love, but as long as we love games and we know they're awesome, that's all that matters.
Hey maggot, this is PressStart.
I think we've both long thought that the Tecmo football franchise was kind of the superior franchise to the Madden. Would you agree?
It's certainly one that I enjoy playing a lot.
Yeah.
Madden's probably a more realistic sim.
I always preferred like the, like especially when it got into the Genesis era, I always preferred the Tecmo games to the
I think at that time, well, not that there's not really Tecmo games now, but yeah. I really got into Tecmo games, funny enough, like when I got a Genesis, and I think I got Tecmo Super Bowl 3 or something, and I remember seeing it in a magazine, and I think I was maybe sick or something that day, and I wasn't at school. I was at Grandma Bai's. It wasn't our real grandma, but anyways. I don't know why you need to know that, but anyways. But so I was on her couch, and she was giving me these chocolate things, and I don't think I was really sick that day, but anyways. And I think she kind of knew it, but so she was being really nice to me. So I was reading this video game magazine and I saw an ad for Tecmo Super Bowl 3, and it was incredible. And one of the things that I remember from it was seeing, like, I think it was San Francisco or Oakland, one of those teams, had like the baseball diamond on the field.
Yeah.
And I couldn't believe that was in a game. I was like, wow, how did they do that?
So I guess going back a bit, you went for obviously, you know, you had an NES.
They also got me a Genesis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what you... I think we both kind of played more Genesis maybe growing up than... We never really had the Super Nintendo, which is a really great console. I've come back to it in recent years, but yeah, you were pretty big Genesis fan, right?
Oh, for sure, yeah. Well, and a lot of that was because of the sports games. Like, they just seemed to play a little better than they did on the Super Nintendo, so certainly the hockey games. I played the Madden games too, they were fun. Madden 94 played quite a bit of, you know, you can play as like they got those classic teams on it, like the 78 Steelers and, you know.
You know, this game's like lived on, it has a real strong like community now, and
yeah, there's those tournaments that people play in, and they're
crazy
like
tournaments.
crazy good at it.
And it makes sense. I mean, it's just like another example of just a game that there were obviously technical limitations, but they did just a great job just making it super fun to play, and like I say, it still plays so great today.
There's some unique challenges to the game, I think, you know,
Yeah.
like passes that should be completed that aren't for strange reasons, and you know, hope for the best sometimes when you throw the ball downfield.
As you say, there's a lot more guesswork in this game than in maybe a lot of the
Like-
more recent Maddens.
Well, we tend to play as the Steelers. And this is another game that we sort of play, like Josh will play offense, I'll play defense usually. You can play two players in this game, right? You can play against each other.
Yeah.
But I like playing defense, he likes playing offense, so it kind of works out well. There's a PS2 game we play a lot, Madden 2005, and created the Hamilton Tiger Cats franchise. We had to replace another franchise, right?
I think the Houston Texans got the boot.
Right, they sort of disappeared from the game.
All those players
So we
no longer in the NFL.
created the Hamilton Tiger Cats and filled them with all these free agents.
There was sort of a period of time where I sort of inherited all your game consoles, and there was probably like a slight period of time, or maybe a few years, where you weren't really playing very many games. I think at some point I managed to sort of rope you back into it. I guess I got like the PS2, and there were some things that were interesting to you at that point. But I recall there was sort of a period of time where maybe you'd gotten away from it a bit, but I managed over the years to drag you back into it.
There was a period of time where I got more into PC gaming, I think. Like, I mean, I always liked PC games, you know, Police Quest.
I started playing that and just being blown away by it, even though it had these horrible, you know, graphics.
Yeah.
It was so much fun, and you had to follow like exact police protocol through it. It was probably designed by this guy Jim Walls, who was
that's right.
an ex-cop, and Allo, who's pretty well known. But it was just so interesting, and like if you didn't do like the proper
like the procedures, yeah.
Like if you didn't like do the walk around of your car before getting in it, you'd fail the game. You know, if you accidentally ran a red light, you would fail the game.
Sorry. Yeah, so these adventure games had kind of like a point system. So you had, you know, it was out of like 320 points or something, right?
And you'd win the game when you reached 320 points.
Yeah. There's Beaudry.
Come here. You gotta keep your mouth shut though.
You know, so you'd get to the station and you'd take a shower or something and then put your uniform on, and that was 4 points. You'd do the inspection of your car, and that was a few points. You'd
read someone their Miranda rights, and get 4 points.
Right. You know, after work you would go to like, I don't know, like a restaurant or something.
Get like a sandwich and get 4 points.
And that would give you some points. Sonny Bonds.
Sonny Bonds,
yeah.
Agent Sonny Bonds.
That's right.
No, the Sierra games were incredible. You know, Quest for Glory was amazing.
Oh yeah. Well, and then they redid them. They did those VGA remakes that were point and click, and it was the core game, but just like in this really nice point and click interface. And I enjoyed the typing ones, but I definitely really enjoyed the point and click interface.
Yeah.
I don't know. It just kind of everything looked a little bit better too, which was nice. Kind of brought those worlds to life a little bit more.
Yeah, I mean they're called adventure games, obviously, but there is a real like sense of adventure to those old, like even the LucasArts ones too.
Yeah.
You know, just these worlds that are just really interesting, and like you say, they're always really funny. Mm-hmm. Like we say, you know, games really don't often have a sense of humor very much anymore. Zach McCracken and Maniac Mansion, like they're all just very charming. You know, they were just, I don't know, I guess I kind of still sometimes wish that there were...
Gold Rush.
Gold Rush was awesome. Kind of miss the days of the point and click sometimes. I remember there was this one time, well, it was the only time I beat Mike Tyson's Punch-Out. I'd been working on beating Tyson for like, God knows how long, months at a time. I would just like constantly just reload and enter the password again, and I'd fight him like 20 times a night. I swear, for many, many months. And my brother was really interested in this as well. He'd played it growing up, but he never really beat Tyson. And I remember he told me, he's like, you know, if you ever beat him, you gotta wake me up and tell me. So I remember one night I finally beat him. It was by decision, which I didn't even know you could really do. And I just ran upstairs. I was so jacked up. I don't think I've ever been more excited in my life. And I shook my brother and I said, Daniel, I beat Mike Tyson. And he wasn't angry. It was like 2 in the morning. He just rolled over and he sort of looked at me and he went, really? So yeah,